wait a minute. I'm hearing breaking news in my ear, and I want to make sure that I'm hearing this correctly. I will say it now. I am being told that the New England Patriots are hiring Jerod Mayo as the successor to Bill Belichick per Adam Schefter. Go.
It's really interesting because, like, they had a succession plan in his contract that told him he'd be the successor, and that was on file with the league office, which means they don't have to do other interviews. You saw it, I think, in Baltimore when they moved on from Ozzie Newsome to Eric DeCosta as GM. So it seemed like it was pointing this way yesterday. It seems like in the building it felt like it was pointing this way all year whenever Belichick stepped away. But Jerod Mayo, who's been on that defensive coaching staff for years, has been perceived as a successor, and it turns out that was the case.
Let me read you everything I have, and then, Mike T., I'm coming to you. Adam Schefter, 1 minute ago on Twitter, it is a new era in New England. The Patriots have hired Jerod Mayo as their next head coach. He will be formally introduced at a press conference next week. At 37 years old, Mayo now will become the NFL's youngest head coach, taking over a title that Sean McVay had held since being named the Rams coach in 2017. Mayo is a month younger than McVay.
Yeah, similar to what Graz said, Green, this was something that he has told people over the years that he was going to be the heir apparent. He was talking to people about putting his staff together. He has incredible leadership. He's a former linebacker, knows this program really well. So a lot of people thought it was not if, but when, and obviously they're not going to go through the search, which you're allowed to do if there's a contract in place. And, you know, this is New England's plan. You got to give them credit for continuity. And now it's all going to be what kind of staff he could put together around him.
So, there'll need to be an offensive coordinator to manage whatever the quarterback situation turns out to be. And then the question will be about, personnel. They bring in somebody to be a GM because Belichick served that role as well. And, Jerod Mayo doesn't have the level of experience Bill had when he took the Patriots job, so I assume they're not going to give him both roles. So it'll be interesting to see who they bring in for that.
I think the smooth piece about this, and the thing I actually like about it, is Jerod Mayo got to see Bill Belichick when he wasn't the most successful coach in the entire NFL. When you think about the Matt Patricias, when you think about the Josh McDaniels, the Brian Flores, some of these guys, they only got to see Bill at his highest. Maybe he's had an opportunity to be in that building and start to figure out what are some of the things that went wrong. Because obviously it wasn't the X's and O's. It wasn't defensive schematics, right? It wasn't getting your team to give effort and play. So what were those things other than picking the players that made the New England Patriots fall off during the end of Bill Belichick's tenure? And I think having been identified as the next head coach, you start making those check marks. On a week that it doesn't go well, you write down, okay, on Tuesday or on Wednesday in the meetings, this is what happened. This is how we went into the weekend. Here's what we were doing, flip-flopping quarterbacks. And so I think that this could be a good thing. You've been recognized for this position. You've been preparing for this position in this very building.
Let me give you just for those who don't know a lot about Jerod Mayo, he obviously was a terrific player. He was drafted 10th overall out of the University of Tennessee by the Patriots. In the 2008 draft, he was the Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was a captain on the Patriots for many years, retired after the 2015 season, rejoined them as a coach in 2019, has been on the staff since then, as you say, not for many of the glory years, more for these more recent struggling years, and now he is the coach, the successor to Bill Belichick. And there is that old expression, you don't necessarily want to be the guy who replaces the guy. These are very big shoes to fill.
They are very big shoes to fill. And I would say this, like if I'm giving advice to Jerod Mayo, be your own man.
Yeah.
So many guys that come out of that Bill Belichick tree, I think they try to emulate him to a fault where they're not their authentic selves in their respective jobs. And that's where they ultimately come up short. And I think in this situation, I think he will. I think Jerod Mayo will, be his authentic self, because I think you do that. Obviously, as you know, players, we see through it all. And when you're not authentic, then the players don't buy in.
Yeah, like the chair can't change him. Right. Like the player or the coach, he's been in that building that I'm sure some of these young players have been able to go sit in front of and sort of bare their souls and talk about some of the difficulties they're dealing with. He has to be that same man as a head coach. Now, you have more things to delegate from that position wearing that hat, but you have to continue to connect to the players in the same way, represent yourself in the same way, but now you have to do it on a more public level as being the face of the franchise.
Mike T., let's talk about where they go first. They have an interesting point. This is they've reached a fork in the road, right? And they've chosen to go in a new direction. No more Bill, no more trying to do this. Then now they go with a new coach, and they have the 3rd pick in the draft. In a draft that has one quarterback who I think is projected by everyone to be a star in Caleb Williams, and then 2 others that a lot of the mock drafts I'm seeing have going 2nd and 3rd, which are Drake May, the quarterback from North Carolina, and Jaden Daniels, the quarterback from LSU, who won the Heisman. Do you expect they will draft a quarterback at number 3 and start all over again with a rookie?
100%, and it'll either be the Drake May or Jaden Daniels loser of the 2nd pick, and then what?
Or do you try and trade up and get that? That was why I thought they might try and trade Belichick to get a little more draft capital to try and move up. Now you are just taking. If you like all 3 of them, that's one thing. But now you're just taking the one that falls to you.
If I'm Washington, one of the things I'm selling in my opportunity is you're going to pick the quarterback not named Caleb Williams. So I'm not moving out of that spot. I'm using the 2nd pick to entice the best coaching candidate. The other point I want to make, though, Greeny, is if I'm Jerod Mayo, I'm hiring a former head coach as my offensive coordinator. So take a guy like an Arthur Smith, because you want experience in that building. And I advise a number of coaches and potential coaches, and I always tell them, take the summer to talk to as many people as you can, and you want to hit the ground running. And that's why you want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. As a rookie head coach, you want experience around you.
Mike T, can I ask you this question? Does he have to have a former head coach as the offensive coordinator? Because we're seeing these young coordinators really start on these teams and make splashes, the Bobby Slowicks, the Ben Johnsons, and those guys. Can it be one of those things where you look at a guy like Sean McVay where you go get Wade Phillips? And he doesn't necessarily have to be your coordinator. I'm not sure. I think Wade was the defense coordinator, where he could just be on your staff, or you could have him be the assistant head coach and sort of get that advice. Because I feel like these younger coordinators are coming in with some innovative ways to get young quarterbacks to play extremely well.
Yeah.